You know that feeling, right? You finally achieve something you've been chasing for years, and for a moment, it's great. But then, it fades. And underneath it all, there's that same quiet hum of, is this it? Well, let's dive into that exact feeling because it's a deeply human thing. We're going to use the wisdom of Eckhart Tolle to figure out why that happens, and more importantly, what we can do about it. I mean, really, why is that? Why do we have this sense of not enoughness that just follows us around like a shadow, no matter how much we get or how much we do? Well, Tolle suggests it's not some personal failure on your part. It's actually a fundamental feature of the human mind when we're kind of running on autopilot. And this quote, this is everything. This is the heart of our whole explainer today. Tolle is basically saying all that stuff we worry about, our jobs, our relationships, our bank accounts, it's all secondary. The one thing that actually truly determines the quality of your entire life is your inner state, your consciousness. So let's unpack what that really means. Okay, so first things first, we have to shine a light on the problem. And the tricky part is, it's something so constant, so familiar, that most of the time we don't even notice it's there. I'm talking about that nonstop noise inside our own heads. For so many of us, this is just the baseline. It's like a low-grade static, this persistent feeling that something's not quite right, or that we're not quite right. And we think, oh, if I just fix this one problem, get this one thing, then the feeling will finally go away. But as we're about to see, the source of that unease isn't out there at all. So Tolle gives this a name. He calls it object consciousness. It's when our awareness gets completely swallowed up by the objects in our mind, our thoughts, our worries, our plans. You know when you're driving and you suddenly snap back to reality and realize you don't remember the last 5 miles? That's it. That's object consciousness. You're so lost in the stream of thought, you forget that you are not the stream. And man, doesn't this just hit the nail on the head? It feels like that, right? It's just one thought, then the next thought, one worry, then the next worry. This voice in the head is a relentless narrator. And the crazy part is, it's running the whole show without our permission. So, if that's the problem, what's the diagnosis? Well, it's pretty simple. We're trapped. We are prisoners of our own minds. Tolle calls this state spiritual unconsciousness. It's like we're asleep, just dreaming the dream that our thoughts are spinning for us. All right, so how do we wake up? The very first step is seeing a crucial difference, a distinction we almost always miss. There is you, the awareness behind the thoughts, and then there are the thoughts themselves. We've just smashed those two together and assumed they're the same thing. And here's how that confusion plays out. We create this little character in our head, this thinker, this me, and we believe that's who we are. But the thoughts, they're more like mental weather just passing through, and they have this gravitational pull that just yanks us around. And the result? We feel trapped because we think we're the one in control, but really, we're just along for a very bumpy ride. Now, this inner feeling of being incomplete, this sense of lack, this is what drives almost everything we do. It sends us on a lifelong and ultimately a completely fruitless search for something Tolle calls salvation. And so the great search begins. We look for that salvation in all the usual places. We tell ourselves that classic story. If I just find the perfect partner, or once I get that big promotion, or when I move to that new city, then I'll finally feel happy. Then I'll be complete. We chase after all these things, hoping one of them is the magic key that will finally shut down that background noise for good. Tolle gives this kind of funny but profound example with relationships. It starts with total delusion. This is it. I found the one. I'm saved. But then, reality kicks in. The idealized image you had of them fades, and you're left with their actual conditioned personality, with all its quirks and irritations. And this leads to Tolle's amazing conclusion. In this state of mind, you always marry the wrong person. Why? Because you're asking them to do the impossible, to save you from yourself. And here's the absolute core of it. All that striving, all that searching for the next thing, it's actually a misplaced desire. We're not really longing for a new car or a perfect partner. What we're unconsciously longing for is to be free from the prison of our own mind. Okay, so if looking for answers out there is a total trap, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to the prescription. And it's a radical shift. It's about turning your attention away from the objects in your mind to the space where they appear. Now, this is super important. We're not talking about another idea or a new belief to add to your collection of thoughts. This is about noticing something that's already here, right now. It's an experience. You know that old saying about the finger pointing to the moon?
These words are just the finger. They are not the moon itself.
So, this is the alternative, space consciousness. Think of it like this. The empty space in the room you're in is what allows all the furniture to exist, right? Well, in the same way, there's an inner space of pure awareness that allows all your thoughts and emotions to come and go. Becoming aware of that space, that's the beginning of real freedom. So you might be thinking, okay, cool, but how do I do that? Here's a beautifully simple way. Just listen as I speak. But don't just listen to the words, listen for the tiny gap of silence between them. Can you notice that? In that brief moment of noticing the silence, you're not thinking. You're just aware. And once you get a feel for it, you can find the space everywhere. It's the silence underneath the traffic. It's the empty space in the room, which, when you think about it, is what makes the room a room. It's even that tiny fleeting pause between one thought and the next. Just noticing these gaps, that's the whole practice. So what happens when you start to do this more, when you start to notice and rest in that inner space? Well, something profound begins to shift. You naturally start to disidentify from all that mental chatter. And this leads you to realize there are kind of two versions of I. There's the surface I, that's the person, the personality, the story of me with all its history and problems. And then there's the deep I, and that's the formless, timeless awareness itself. Tolle has this perfect analogy. He says the surface I is like a little ripple on the surface of the ocean. It's temporary, it's defined by its shape, and it's always a little uneasy because it knows it's not going to last. But the deep I, that's the entire ocean. It has no form, it's timeless, and it's already completely whole. The life-changing realization is this. You are not just the ripple, you are the entire ocean. Now, this is a really important point. This isn't about becoming some blank, boring zombie or getting rid of your personality. Not at all. Your personality, with all its unique quirks, is still there. The only thing that changes, and it's a huge change, is that you no longer get your sense of identity from it. It becomes a tool you can use, not the master you have to serve. And this, right here, is the ultimate payoff. This is freedom. When you know who you are at that deeper level, as that inner space, you stop demanding that the world make you happy. And then relationships, achievements, all of it. The pressure is off. They're no longer burdened with the impossible job of defining you. You can finally just enjoy them for what they are, without all that desperate neediness. So I'll just leave you with this final question, which is really an invitation. Right now, in this very moment, can you notice the silence underneath my voice? Can you feel the aliveness in your own hands? The practice doesn't begin tomorrow or after you meditate. It begins right now.